Game devs, welcome back. So when you start making your games, you often find yourself wanting some action to happen if a certain condition is met. Otherwise, you may want something else to happen. The simplest way to handle this is to use if, else if, and else statements in your code. These are called conditionals, and you may have to use them when trying to get some of your game mechanics to work. Godot makes it really easy to get this working. Let's take a look. I have an example scene set up here with a background, sprite image, and 3 labels: good, better, and best. I've also added a script to the scene. Let's take a closer look. This is a really simple script to show how the if, else if, and else statements work. I've set up a variable for score and got links to the 3 labels. In the ready function that's called when the game is started, I use the conditions. If the score is less than or equal to 10, I will show the good label. Else if the score is less than or equal to 20, I will show the better label. And if none of these conditions are met, I will use the else to show the best label. Let's take a look at this in action. If I change the score to a value less than or equal to 10 and run the game, we can see that the good label is shown. If I change the score to a value less than or equal to 20, we can see that the better label is shown. And for any other value, the best label is shown. Now these conditionals are not limited to being used with scores alone. They can be used in a variety of situations. One of the ways that I like to use them is with animations. To give you a more visual idea of how if, else if, and else works, let's take a look at it in Scratch. Okay, I know, Scratch is for kids, but it really does provide a great way for those new to coding to visualize how to put these pieces together. I think that it's worth your while if you're just getting started with coding to check it out, even if it's just for a little while. Okay, I'm not going to get into much detail about how Scratch works, but the general idea is you use different color blocks to construct your code. They are a bit like Legos, and only the pieces that work together fit together. Here I have a hummingbird that I drew for a game jam. In this example, I will show you the idea behind how I use if and else statements to control the fly and rest animation of the hummingbird. First, I defined the fly and rest animations separately. The fly animation simply switches between 2 images that are being displayed every 0.3 seconds. And for the rest animation, I simply show the rest image. Next, I defined the conditions for the animation using if and else. Here you can see if the up arrow is pressed, the fly animation would play. Else, it is not pressed, the rest animation would play. Then I attached a forever block to the when green flag clicked block and put the definition for the animation in there. The when green flag clicked block is like the ready function in Godot, and the forever block is kinda like the process function. You will see how this all relates when we get back to Godot. Now let's play the game and see how this works. You see that when I start the game, the rest animation is called. And when I push the up arrow, the fly animation is called. Now you may think that this is way overkill for just these 2 simple animations, because it would work just fine if the definitions were included in the forever function. Let's take a look. But I like to separate my code into smaller pieces. That way it's easier to make adjustments later on. Say for some reason I wanted to start the game with the fly animation instead. It would make implementing the changes a lot easier. Now let's get back to Godot. This is a scene from the game that I created. Here I have 4 animations set up for the player: dash, fly forward, idle, and rest. It was easy for me to implement the changes to the animations because of the way I set up my code. You can see here that in the player controller script, I used if, else if, and else statements to handle my animations. by simply setting the correct animation if the certain condition was met. It's important to note that usually the else condition is kind of like the last or ultimate check. It makes the final check, so to speak. I would love to hear how you make use of if, and else in the comments, or if you'd rather not use them. Thanks for watching. We discussed a lot today. Core mechanics and no gimmicks. I hope this video was helpful. If you liked the video, give it a like. It really means a lot. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I upload another video. And speaking of other videos, why not check out another one of my videos here? This has been Diragu Games.